Hey y'all, today we're going to be making some yummy monkey bread. So to start out with, we got to get our cinnamon sugar mixture made, okay? So I have these handy dandy little Ziploc bag holders. Now I've had them for 130,000 years, but I always forget to get them out, and y'all, they are so dang convenient. And they're pretty cheap. I'll link them down below if y'all are in need of such a contraption. But this way you don't start dumping stuff into your Ziploc bag and your bag just falls over and then your stuff goes everywhere. So what we're going to need, go ahead, by the way, preheat your oven to 350. Then we're going to need about a cup of just plain old sugar. We're going to put that right in our bag. And then you're going to need about 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Now, y'all know how I don't like to measure anything, so that's why I said about. But if you're a measurer, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Put that right into your Ziploc bag with your sugar, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to mix this up real good. Now, I'm a believer in the, but you can like buy the little containers of cinnamon and sugar already mixed together. But this is kind of a big amount that you need to use, so I wouldn't really recommend that. I would just make it, yourself at home. It's a lot easier. So now we're going to need to cut our biscuits up. And these are the big, like the equivalent to the Grand's biscuits, the big ones. And of course, y'all know, Great Value. You know I was going to use Great Value. So you're going to go ahead and get these all out, and you're going to need to cut these into quarters. Now, normally I would just take the big old stack and cut them down, but look at this. I hate when the biscuits come like that, y'all. You got a big old flat end, and then you got a big old humped up end. So those I kind of took apart, so when I cut them, I could make sure that my pieces were still fairly even, and that way it all cooks even, because you don't want pieces that are so small to get burnt, and then your big pieces don't get done. Y'all know what I'm saying. So just go ahead, cut all your biscuits into quarters, and then just, see, I'm just kind of pulling them apart right there. Just, the individual biscuits, not the actual layers. And just keep on cutting until you get all your biscuits good and cut up. Now you're going to need to get out your Bundt pan. Okay, we're going to use the Bundt pan. And don't mind that mine has scratches all in the bottom of it because I had something that stuck one time and I had to dig it out. We're not going to talk about that. So now you're going to take some butter, and I just take a little paper towel. And this butter, I don't cook with this kind of butter. This is just kind of, if you need to spread something or if you need to do this, that kind of butter. Because, stick butter is kind of hard to spread. And I'm not one that leaves mine sitting out. So a cold stick of butter is hard to spread. So I like to keep a little tub of butter in my refrigerator. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to get that Bundt pan good and coated with that butter. Now, you could use cooking spray if you wanted to, but you need to make sure that it's super, super coated, because this is a lot of biscuit we're putting in here, and we don't want this to stick. Plus, we're putting like the sticky topping and stuff on it. So just make sure that your pan is good and greased with whatever that you're using to grease it with. So then we're going to take our cinnamon and sugar mixture, and we're going to take just a couple little handfuls of our biscuits. You want to do this kind of in batches, because if you put too many in the bag, which you'll see in a minute that I do, because, look at there. See, they're already sticking together. That's what you don't want to happen, because then you're going to have parts of your biscuit that don't get any cinnamon and sugar on it. And because this is like the pull apart, you want every piece that people pull off of this to be coated in the cinnamon and sugar so that every piece tastes good, and you don't just end up pulling off a piece that just tastes like a cooked biscuit, if that makes any sense. So you're just going to go ahead and see, there they are, nice and coated with our little cinnamon sugar mixture. Sorry for the light going crazy. I don't know what is going on with my light lately. But see right there? See how they stuck together and there wasn't any cinnamon and sugar? So you just, if that happens, just dip it back down in the bag and, coat that little piece that didn't get coated. And then you're just going to want to evenly place these all around your pan. And like I said, you're going to do this in several batches. So, but just make sure at the end that you have a pretty even layer so that it cooks evenly, So also, y'all, if you are making this for a big get-together and you don't want everybody's hands in it, you can take the smaller canned biscuits and, using the same process, put them in muffin pans. And then you have tiny little individual monkey breads. That would be so cute. And it would keep grubby fingers out of the big monkey bread. You know what I'm saying? If it's family, you trust everybody. Nobody's scratching parts and stuff like that. If you trust them, make the big one. But if you don't trust them, make the little ones. So now we're going to need to make the glaze for this. So what you're going to need is go to your stove, heat your pot up, and drop you in a stick of butter. We're going to let our butter get all the way melted down. And then to that, we're going to add 1/2 of a cup of packed brown sugar. Look, I'm trying to fan the smoke out so y'all can actually see what's going on. So put your brown sugar in there. Just be very careful when you have that packed brown sugar because it comes out in a clump. Don't, splash yourself with that hot butter. Just be careful. So you're going to go ahead and just kind of whisk that around so you can get your brown sugar good and mixed up into your butter. Because we're making, it's kind of this kind of caramel kind of sauce, right? So I forgot to tell y'all, but don't throw away that cinnamon and sugar that you dip your biscuits in because we're going to need about 1/2 cup of that to add right to our glaze. So you've got a stick of butter, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and then 1/2 cup of the cinnamon and sugar mixture. So you're going to mix that together. You're going to bring it to just under a boil. You don't want it to really start boiling. Once it gets good and warm, you're going to take it off the heat and then just keep stirring it until all of your sugar is dissolved in there. It just takes a minute or so. So once you get your little glaze made, we're going to go ahead and pour this right over the top of all of our little biscuits. And it looks like from the way that you do this that all the sticky gooey is going to be on the bottom of this, but it's not. It's going to soak. I mean, you'll have some, on the bottom too, but it's going to soak down through your biscuits down to the bottom so that, well, it'll be the top. But you're going to take it out, and when you flip it over, all of this gooey stuff will be on the top of your monkey bread. Now, if you like pecans, I didn't have any when I made it this day, but if you like pecans, you can put some pecans down in the bottom of your pan, and that way when you flip it over, you have a pecan glaze. Oh my gosh, y'all. Anyway, pop this in the oven for about 30 minutes, okay? Once it comes out of the oven, it's going to look like this. And you're going to want to let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, just so all of that juice, you can see between those two little biscuits right there, that it still had some of that juice right there. If you let it sit for 5-10 minutes, it'll soak on down into your biscuits, okay? So we just want to make sure that happens. So once that's all soaked in, we're going to go ahead and just take a plate, and don't mind the sticker because I couldn't get it off, but I promise the plate's clean. You're going to take that and you're going to flip it right over onto your plate. Now, this pan is still hot because it's only been out of the oven, a couple minutes. So just be careful with that if you need to get some pot holders. Now, I always like to give mine a little bump just to make sure that it lets go of the pan. And then you just pull it out. And you can see, I buttered my pan real good, but you can see where one piece right there, I put it back so nobody would know. But that one little piece did come off. So that's why you have to make sure that you get it really, really good and greased, okay? But y'all, this is our monkey bread. It is so dang good. See how all that glaze is down there on the bottom part? So when you start pulling those pieces off, y'all, I'm telling you, if you never had monkey bread, you need to give it a try. A lot of people cook it at holiday time, but we just cook it whenever we want it. So that is all I've got for y'all today. I will pop y'all another video right over here, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.